What's going on, movie fans? Welcome to Movie Rounders Live. I'm Matt. Bethany, who's John Barenthal today. Darby is back with us, and Daniel is here. And tonight we are doing TV night. We've had a lot of people ask, hey, can you do TV shows? And we were like, sure, we'll try our best. So we're not TV experts, but we're going to give it a try. And the answer to everybody else's question, yes, that is Daniel's real house. We promise. So we thank you guys for watching us. Everybody.
Daniel's funding all of us right now.
It's nice.
Over here, we got the nice chat box over here. Y'all send in your comments. Let us know if we're doing well, if we're doing bad, what your answers to the topics would be. So, like I said, it's movie night tonight, or TV night. I messed up. We're doing television tonight. And our first topic of television, best and worst dramatic TV show. And we're going to start with Daniel. Daniel, what's your best and worst dramatic TV show?
Okay, I'm going to go for my standard, what is it? Do I want to watch it forever? Do I mind? Okay, best dramatic TV show for me is going to be Kung Fu. It's like a classic. It's from the 1970s. It's, it's amazing. I could watch this show for like 24 hours a day and never get tired of it. Yeah, there's probably like maybe 150 or 200 episodes. I'm not even really sure. But Kung Fu is like fantastic. It's got like really cool fighting. It's got like life lessons in it. It's got like amazing dramatic situations. And it's just like, oh my God, this is just like I worshiped this show as a kid. I couldn't get enough of it. Worst TV show for me, I actually have two. I hope nobody has these. But they're just equally as bad for me. Like, I hate the TV show Friday Night Lights. I know I'm probably going to get some hate for that. I know people love that, but I hate that show. I hate sports. It's just stupid. I just think it's like the dumbest show ever. And Gilmore Girls. I hate that. I hate that show. I don't like it. I just want to.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I know it's like I've got people that love it, and that I've had horrible debates about it, but I don't like it. Sorry.
I'm not really a fan of it either. Like,
good.
A lot of the characters on that show are very hard to like. Specifically, one of the main characters, and I watched all the episodes with I cannot say his last name, Milo. And I watched all the episodes with his character, and then I watched the year in the life one they did with like the 4 seasons. Mm-hmm. And people in that show are just stupid. That's my understanding.
I agree.
So what we're going to do first is, since I had you on a solo layout there, we're all going to give you the weird look of when you said Kung Fu, because I'm pretty sure none of us know what you're talking about.
Oh, my God. Y'all never seen
I've never heard of this show called Kung Fu before.
It's the best television show ever made, especially if you're like into like Kung Fu and you like,
What's it about Kung Fu?
Is it James Carradine or somebody is like who's it? David Carradine.
Yeah,
David Carradine, the guy who was in Kill Bill. Mm-hmm. He's like in the 70s, the show called Kung Fu, and it's like phenomenal. He's like walking the earth like he's a monk, a Buddhist, a monk, and he's walking the earth, and he's like, he doesn't want to be violent, but people force him to, it was like, kind of has the same feel of like the Incredible Hulk, like back in the 70s, but it's like Kung Fu. So, I mean, it's like insane. Like David Carradine is.
I think.
I got to see it.
I think the only thing I've ever seen him, and Josh over in the comments says that there's multiple Carradines apparently.
Robert.
I know one of them from, I think it was like the Even Stevens show, maybe. Like they had a guest spot on there, and someone was trying to take a grasshopper from, the old like, you got to get the fly out of my hand type thing. I know that's really the only thing I know them from.
That might be it. There's a scene like that where he's with the old Grand Wizard Master person, Kung Fu guy, and like he's teaching him a parable about life, and they do a lot of scenes where he's like in his current age, and then they cut back to where he's a boy, And so it's really good, and it's just an amazing show.
It's entirely possible, man. Like all I remember is older man who was good at kung fu, and someone was trying to take a grasshopper from him, or a fly, I don't know, and he called him grasshopper. There's a grasshopper and there's kung fu involved. That's all I know.
Robert Carradine is the Revenge of the Nerds, I believe, right?
Is he?
I think that one's Robert Carradine. So, but you hate Friday Night Lights
about the Friday Night Lights. Like, I know you warned us that there may be some shocks in yours, but I did not see you heading that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of your faces when he said that. I was a little surprised by it too. Like, I don't think it's a great show, but it's not bad.
It's not the worst by no means.
It's
where
just
Taylor Kitsch comes from.
Teen drama, crazy angst.
There are worse teen dramas than that one. Trust me, Daniel.
I believe it. One's called Gilmore Girls.
We're gonna move on to Bethany. Bethany, your best and worst dramatic TV show.
I'll go worst first because it actually is in the comments. Sarah Himsel shared Riverdale. I specifically put, as I was doing this, the worst dramatic TV show was any CW TV show because 98% of them are garbage, especially the Arrow TV show. That is a hot, ugly mess, and I don't like it. But Riverdale specifically, I've never watched that show. I only know about that show through Twitter, and I have a very good idea of how the show operates and what it's about. But at the same time, I have not a clue what that show is about. It does not make sense. And every clip I've ever seen of that show is absolutely wild and not what I thought had anything to do with the show at all. So that's horrible. Best TV show, on the other hand, is Westworld. The HBO's Westworld. I think I need to catch up on season 3. I totally flaked out this year. But that show is insane. And I will not take that back, Brian. Arrow is... You said the first 2 seasons are great. There's like 7 seasons. It gets progressively worse. And... But no, Westworld is it's amazing. I don't know how they keep it straight in their heads, those 2 showrunners. The cast is phenomenal. Like, there's no weak link in that show at all. And if you complain about it's too confusing to watch, stop trying to figure it out and just watch it and enjoy it. I don't try to figure it out. I enjoy myself and I let it unfold.
All righty. So we're going to go on to Darby. Darby, your best and worst dramatic TV shows.
Well, I will start off with the worst, just to counter that I do think Arrow was one of the best shows for the first few seasons that the CW had in years.
Well, the first few seasons being the operative word.
Possibly worse, but DC TV shows on there have still been supremely better than DC movies, in my opinion. But that's a whole nother topic. But it's ironic. It's ironic you bring it up, though, because my worst I put was actually the one that's been the most disappointing on CW with that, and it was Batwoman. I think that could have been one of the better ones that they did recently, especially because Legends of Tomorrow was not that good. But it's just not. And they could have done so much. The crossovers were great with it leading up to it. Then when they actually did the first season, it bombed. And Ruby Rose is already leaving after the first season, so now they have to recast the role.
Well, they're not even recasting it. They're just like completely removing her character and coming in with a new one, from what I've read. And the actress looked phenomenal in it.
Yeah, and like I said, the crossover when they did it set it up to be fantastic, and then it was a flop. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But then my best, and I've seen it in the comments a little bit. Breaking Bad's definitely up there, but the one I would catch myself watching more often, and I actually just started rewatching it again a few weeks ago, was West Wing. I still think the West Wing is phenomenal. And the irony is I got on Netflix to get away from all the political stuff you see on social media and the news. And I was like, okay, I want to find something not political, get my mind off of it. And I still wound up watching West Wing. I mean, Martin Sheen, I wish he could be, I wish Jed Bartlett was the president sometimes to actually have that. But I mean, the characters in it were great. And like I said, the only character I hated on it was Mandy, but they fixed that in the first season and got rid of her. So like I said, I think West Wing is still to this day like something you can just pick up and watch and just really enjoy, whether you understand the political connotations of the show or not. So West Wing is getting my best pick.
Good pick. I love West Wing. So I'm going to ask the three of you. Apparently, the three of you can see the comments because I can't see them at all. So that's why I haven't popped up any comments.
On the side, Matt, there's a thing that says private chat and then comments, and you can click comments, and there's a live stream of comments.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm got that clicked, and I can't see the comments at all.
Never mind.
So are you guys able to highlight and show them? Because I can't.
Let me try. No.
Well, that's very interesting because I have the tool to do it, and I can't see your comments, so I apologize that I'm not popping up your comments. I'm going to try to work on that and get that fixed. That's why I haven't popped any of them up. But since it's my turn, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to tell you my worst and best dramatic TV shows. I'm going to go with the best first. It's always been my favorite. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's no secret. That's always been my favorite TV show. It's done so well. Josh Whedon at his best. Every character in it is great. They had one bad season. That'd be the 4th season. Other than that, everything else in Buffy the Vampire Slayer is great to me. It had a spinoff show with Angel. It was on for 7 seasons, and that's because Sarah Michelle Gellar got tired of being Buffy. Otherwise, she was going to write her 10 seasons. But it's definitely my favorite. It's got some of the best TV episodes that I love so much. The worst. I tried to watch this show, y'all. I got through the 1st season, and I don't know how I did it. It is Mindhunter. Mindhunter is
oh my god,
it's bad. It is the slowest of slow burns, and I've watched a lot of slow burns. I really have.
Matt,
it's bad. It's so slow.
To be fair, I kind of agree with that criticism. I love Mindhunter, and I love Jonathan Groff, our esteemed king from Hamilton. But that it is a very slow burn show, and now it's like on infinite hiatus.
But it's amazing. The next season is going to be phenomenal.
It kicked right off in the opening scene. I was like, okay, so this is where we're going to go. But that was it. It was the opening scene, and then it just slowed. But like, I agree. I like watching him, go in and talk to serial killers. And I'm not saying the acting is bad. I'm not saying the acting is bad at all. I'm saying it is way too slow.
It's very David Fincher.
And that's what I mean. I like some David Fincher, but I mean, it's just it's way too slow for me.
Have you seen the Atlanta season?
That's the 2nd season.
I've only seen the 1st season, and that's just because it took me so long to get through it.
I'd say if you really, season 2 is the bomb. I mean, the way they orchestrate that and do that and lay that out, to me, I love that, and I love those kind of shows. Period. So maybe that's why I love it. But I'm gonna try to keep giving it a chance, but it is not doing it for me at all. Season 2 is a lot better, in my opinion, because they talked to Manson. I mean, come on, it's crazy.
I loved season 1 with Edmund Kemper. I thought the guy that had to play him was fabulous. But comments wise, we've got.
So an update on the comments. They're starting to come in. They're starting to come in for me, but it's like they look like they're about 10 minutes behind because I'm just now seeing the post that came in at 7:04 and it's 7:14. So I am seeing them. They're just coming in 10 minutes behind from
Your brother said to log out and re-log in, but I don't know if that will kick us all out.
It'll kick everybody out. So they'll come in for me eventually. I'm seeing Daniel going full Busta Rhymes on.
There's a lot of blasphemy. Mindhunter is so good from multiple people.
Yeah.
Someone says Dexter up until the last episode is horrible. No, great. The last episode is horrible. My bad.
That makes more sense.
I love Scrubs, so that's good that I'm seeing there. But they're coming in, so keep sending in your comments, and I promise they'll eventually make it to my computer.
The Americans is a good one, according to Sarah Hemsel.
I really want to watch The Americans. I just can't get it.
So freaking good. So good.
Josh Gressett is very upset that nobody mentioned The Sopranos.
We will.
Ryan McDonald agrees with you that Batwoman is garbage.
It is.
And everyone was agreeing with me that Riverdale is hot trash. So
had a few people mention Lost in there too, and Matt, I know you love it, but the writers' strike just killed that one. I think from
like Lost first few seasons was absolutely amazing. I love Lost, and the ending didn't even bother me much because once you got to the Sawyer and Juliet relationship, I was like, they can't do no wrong because that relationship was just so good for me. But yes, keep those comments coming. I promise I'll pop these up throughout. It looks like my comments are about 10 minutes behind, and I'm the one with the controls. So sorry about that, guys. But keep commenting. We'll hit them up. So now we're going to move on to the best and worst comedic TV show. So we're going to start with Bethany. Best and worst comedic TV show.
I don't watch a ton of comedic TV shows, so the first one I thought of for best was The Office, because I love The Office. I'm one of those people, I guess. I don't walk around and quote it, to be fair. I think The Office is a lot of fun once you get past the first season. The first season is really hard to watch. Like, I was watching it and I told my friend I was going to stop because I was like, it's especially Michael in the first season. He's like, no, just keep going. Like once you get past that, it gets better. So I'm glad I stuck it out. The final season, the 7th season, I believe, that got a little slow for me, and I found myself skipping through some episodes just to kind of get to the end. Like, I would like fast forward through the episode to see if there is anything interesting in it, and yeah. Worse, though, I'm going to go with a very popular TV show that I hate because it has been popularized to like an ungodly amount. The Big Bang Theory. Are we in agreement there, Darby?
Finally, on something.
Okay. I despise The Big Bang Theory. I liked it when it first came out, and then it just became so much. No. I'm glad that show ended. I
was happy to see it go.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good for what it was, but it kind of got like Friends and all those other shows.
It kind of got Supernatural, where it should have ended after maybe like the 8th season. It really should have ended after the 5th one, but then they kept going because it was Money Horse, and then they just started beating that horse, and it died, and they kept beating it.
Yep.
And it's just not good.
I enjoyed The Big Bang Theory for quite a while. I've never watched the episodes in order. I just watch them as they come on. I watch them on TBS, kind of like what I did with Friends and all that. But so I've never watched it all the way in order, but I wouldn't say it's a bad TV show. I
believe your sister is Corey, Pat, and she says that your mom just disowned Movie Rounders due to the Big Bang Theory comment.
My mom loves Big Bang Theory, so yes, that's a stab to her heart right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of agreement about The Office being great.
Mm-hmm.
So
since you said The Office, I'll go next. The Office is obviously the best comedic TV show. Like Bethany said, the first season is a little tough to get through. It's got 1 or 2 good episodes. It's only 6 episodes long. The show ended up being 9 seasons, but a lot of people say it's only 7 because that's when Michael left, was in the 7th season. It's just got so many great episodes. Season 2 is one of the greatest seasons of a TV show of all time. So many great episodes. Everything about it is great. I proposed to my wife on the Maid of the Mist because of the show. I watched John Krasinski loyally, religiously, because of the show. I love everything about it. The characters were great. I was sad to see it go, but it definitely needed to go. But The Office is easily the best comedic show. It's the one I watch. If I just need to binge something on Netflix, I think I've watched it about 7 or 8 times all the way through. The honorable mention I have for that was Scrubs. Scrubs is definitely right there with it. I love Scrubs a lot too. Worst, I watched this all the way through, and it did take me a while. So, and yes, when they brought it back, it took me way out because Michael Cera went from this to this in the matter of 1 season. It is Arrested Development. Just no. I tried to like it. I like my shows to have an episodic theme to it, Where I mean, The Office was something different each time, but the relationships stayed consistent. The acting stayed consistent. Arrested Development, there was nothing consistent about the show whatsoever. It went all over the place. Every single episode, they were just trying to make you laugh. And I absolutely love Jason Bateman. Ozark is definitely one of my favorite dramatic TV shows. And Jason Bateman's so good. It was fun seeing Michael Cera, younger and all that. But, oh boy, that show was tough to get through. I told myself, I just got to get through it, just see what happened. And again, nothing.
Really? Happened. The only thing I know from that show is go watch A Star War. The Dead Pigeon in the Bag. I don't know what I expected. And of course, I love all my children equally. And then 2 minutes later, I don't care for whoever it was.
I mean, that's how it is. It's we love everybody. We hate everybody. Will Arnett was probably my favorite part of the show. But other than that, I did not like Arrested Development at all. We'll go with that. Go for it.
Say, what about the guy that plays the Never Nude? That character is the best character. Imagine being Never Nude. Wow. Yeah. I love that character. It's David Cross. He's really good. David Cross is one of my favorite people ever.
I'm seeing some people. Hang on. Go ahead, Daniel.
Go ahead, Daniel. Hit us with yours.
Okay. We're doing best comedic show. Okay. All right. So I don't know if this counts or not, but I just had to go with it because, best TV show, where are you going to get the best TV show with the best actors, the best comedians, the best of everything all the way around. And every week you're getting new people. I'm going to have to go with SNL because it has been consistent for the last 40 years. It's a scripted TV show. It's just every weekend it's different. And it always is consistent, makes me laugh. I could go back to the beginnings with John Belushi and all those guys. I'm still going to laugh usually, unless it's just something way off political humor junk or whatever. But yeah, so SNL for me for best comedic TV show, got to do it. And worst comedic TV show right now. I'm really trying out a bunch of comedies right now, and I found that there's a show called Space Force, and it has fallen way flat. It's so bad. The acting. My wife made me watch the first episode, and I said, that was it. That was it. Yeah. Great actors, but oh my God, the writing and everything is horrible. Close second behind that one is Hee Haw. I mean, I watched it as a kid because I had to. It's what we watched before we went to church in the afternoon. But you know what? It's corny. It's cornball as you can get, and I hate that show. So,
yeah, I saw that comment earlier about American Horror Story. There's some hit or miss with American.
I'm getting late comments in case you're just joining us now. I'm trying to pop them up as I see them, but keep them coming. I promise they will eventually make it to my computer.
Philip says SNL has been good since the 80s.
And see, that's the thing too.
That's never been right now because of Trump. So. Yeah.
If it changes, I feel it's a generational thing. To me, if it falls off, or if you love it, and then you don't love it, you just got to get with it because it's just like a change in it's like a change, that occurs with each new cast, and you just kind of have to get used to them and sort of get used to their comedy. I don't know. I mean but I don't know. It's been great.
Wesley Burcham.
I don't think the 80s is a fair assessment because, early 90s, that's when you had, Sandler, Farley, that crew, and that's golden.
2000s, you had Will Ferrell, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, so great people.
Wesley says that he's going to have to leave Movie Rounders fandom because of your blasphemy, Matt, about Arrested Development. He does agree Will Arnett as Gob is legendary tier. Your brother seems to think that Parks and Rec is better than The Office, and I know
he says that a lot, and he's wrong a lot. So
I was not a fan of Parks and Rec.
I like Parks and Rec. Don't get me wrong.
Into it.
I couldn't get into it.
I like a lot of characters in Parks and Rec. Maybe some more than I do The Office. Ron Swanson is amazing, and Andy Dwyer is amazing. So. I like the characters in Parks and Rec a lot, but no, it's not better than The Office.
No. There's a comment about Robert California was definitely the best post-Scott character, which is a hard agreement from The Office.
Who said that?
She's my friend. Her nickname is Dee. I can't pronounce her actual name, but she says Robert California is definitely the best post-Scott character. And that's the James Spader.
There were a really lot of good characters post Michael Scott. So,
but James Spader as Robert California is hilarious. Sarah Hemsel says Natalie Portman's raps are about the best things in SNL. She goes hard, and she's great. I love her rap. But Darby, I think it's your turn.
Darby, what do you got for best and worst comedic TV show?
All right. Well, best, I had two down. One of them was Saturday Night Live with Daniel. Full agreement on that. The other one, and I know everyone says it's overhyped, and it's not that good when you look back at it. But I'm sorry, I still think it's the show you compare any sitcom to these days. And I grew up on Friends, and I got to give Friends credit where credit's due. With that launched the careers for almost all the stars on there. I mean, pretty much they moved into movie roles after that. It's one you quote way too much. I mean, I yell pivot anytime I'm moving somebody out of an apartment or house. In my single days, I tried to do the "How you doing" line with little to no success. We can still argue all day long, or were they on a break or were they not? I mean, that was the show. And I think, like I said, you compare every other sitcom actor, is it better than Friends? Is it worse than Friends? So for me, I think the best, you still got to give it to Friends in that capacity. The worst, I actually came on here worried that me saying Big Bang Theory was going to be a point
controversial.
Yeah. So Bethany, we finally found middle ground. We can't agree on Punisher, but we can agree that Big Bang is awful. So I will mention another one, but does anybody remember the Caveman show that they tried to get going?
The Caveman show from the Geico guy.
They based it off the Geico commercials. They tried to do a season out of it. I don't even think it made it through a full season.
Horrible.
It was just terrible. But they tried to base it off the success they had from the commercials to do that. But
great. Could have been awesome. Horrible writing.
I won't even say it could have been awesome, but they tried and it failed miserably. But yeah, Big Bang and Caveman would get my votes for that.
We have some comments saying How I Met Your Mother did Friends better. And then How I Met Your Mother was a great show, ruined by a final episode.
I didn't hate the finale. I'm in the very, very, very tiny minority. I didn't hate the final episode. So
you saw it coming. I mean, the whole time. So I don't know why anybody was surprised by the final episode on that.
Yeah, we knew it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to another show we'll probably talk about, Game of Thrones, with the ending lets you down, but it doesn't take away from the value of the show, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Any other comments in there, Bethany, before we move on?
Worst, Will and Grace from the esteemed Jamie Milner. She does not like Will and Grace.
All right.
Lives was the best drama show, though. So
Corey Radcliffe says, I made it a few seasons into Parks and Rec and gave up, and I'm in agreement with that. I didn't even make it a few seasons. I made it like a season. Oh. And Are You Sure About That on YouTube says Game of Thrones would like a word with you. So
I won't make it to the end of the episode.
So we see a red dot and then your camera goes black.
Yep.
So we're going to move on to our next topic here. Like I said, keep those comments coming in. I'm getting them slowly but surely. We're going to go with best network or streaming platform for TV shows. So, you got so many different networks. You got so many different streaming platforms. I'll start with this. The obvious answer is HBO. HBO is definitely the best network for television. I mean, Game of Thrones, The Sopranos, 6 Feet Under, before that, The Wire. You had just True Detective. So many great shows on HBO. Inside the NFL was great. I loved watching that. True Blood. I actually enjoyed True Blood. It ran off in the later seasons, but I actually enjoyed True Blood. And The Newsroom. The Newsroom is one of my favorite TV shows, and that was on HBO as well. So HBO to me is the best network. But if I was going to go nostalgia, if I was going to go to the network I watched more than any other network ever, it is 90s Nickelodeon. And it will always hold a spot in my heart, because those cartoons in 90s Nickelodeon. Now I have nephews. I've got nephews right now. I've got a little niece, and she watches SpongeBob. And I see the stuff they put on Nickelodeon now. And yeah, the 90s Nickelodeon is still one of the best eras of TV of all time. And I wish we had it all back. So HBO is the best, but I did want to give a shout out to 90s Nickelodeon. Daniel, what do you got?
Well, I mean, I'm going to have to agree with you, Matt, but like my number 2 would probably be I'm really digging right now on Amazon Prime. I mean, I would say HBO because yes, it is. It's got everything I want to see, everything I'm obsessed about. Like I love it. It goes back. It's got such a longevity. Sopranos. I mean, like really deep series. Like you can really dig your teeth in. You can be on a show for like 3 months and like still going. It's just like, man, it keeps giving. So it's amazing. Yes. But like my second choice is Amazon Prime. I'm really a big fan of the Marvelous Miss Maisel show, The Expanse, The Man in High Castle, all that kind of stuff. All those amazing original content, so good. And a lot of the shows that they're doing, they just started making them, so they're only like in season 1 or season 2. But you can't beat HBO. I mean, it's just amazing.
I got some of these comments coming in, so I'm going to throw these up here real fast. This was from the previous category, Scrubs, How I Met Your Mother. New Girl. I do like New Girl. That was good stuff. Hold on, my stuff keeps jumping. Worst, Cougar Town. I tried to watch Cougar Town. I agree with you, Wes. That so well. Done by the same guy who did Scrubs. So these are fighting words to me. Jamie said, what about Community? I did enjoy Community. Just recently finished watching all that. Broad City.
Yes. Broad City.
Dr. Cox's greatest television character of all time. We're going to talk about that here soon. All right. I just wanted to pop up some of those as they were popping on in. So, Darby, give us your best TV network or streaming platform.
Awesome. TV network first. I agree. HBO's got some great ones. And some other people I saw already agree with me in the comments. But don't sleep on FX. From a network perspective, you had Sons of Anarchy, Rescue Me, The Americans, Justified, Fargo's on it. I mean, you could make the list.
American Horror Story when it's
American Horror Story
when it's good.
And so
we do fantasy football, Darby. Don't forget the league.
The league, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. It's so sneakily good you forget about it, about all the shows that have been on there. They go back to FX. So network wise, I'm going FX. Streaming service wise, I will still fight for Team Netflix just because, you have shows like you mentioned Ozark earlier. I'm dying for tomorrow when we get season 2 of The Umbrella Academy. And you get a lot of great documentaries on there. Last Chance U, I mean, they could have had some better, members featured on there, in my personal opinion, from previous places.
You see this face right here.
They could have done a little bit better with that. But they were hurting for cast. But Tiger King, how can you hate on the streaming service that gave us Tiger King? Come on.
Tiger King got us through the first few months of the virus.
We owe surviving the pandemic to that. And then the other one that's probably one of my favorites from there, but season 1 of Daredevil. So like I said, Netflix, I know it was kind of the OG when it came to doing that, but they just got so much quality stuff out there, like you just can't get bored with it. So those are my recommendations.
So now it's my turn while Matt plays some old comedy comments.
Yeah.
Your brother gave me a shout out for reading the comments and then immediately revoked it due to my terrible streaming name. We'll get into that. I'm being passive aggressive right now. But my favorite, I guess, I don't know if it's like favorite, I guess. That's not really what it's called, but it's just like best TV channel or streaming platform for me. I'm going to go with Netflix. HBO, of course. So we're all in agreement. HBO is phenomenal. But I'm going to go with Netflix just because it kind of kickstarted. Oh, it literally did kickstart like the whole streaming platform thing and behemoth, really. And it's unfortunate now that everybody's trying to get in on that and creating their own streaming services. But I love Netflix. It has a ton of original content on it. They try to bring in a ton of old school content. Like they just the other day, like Sister, Moesha, all that. That's all coming to Netflix soon, I think. They just got Avatar this year, which finally I've been waiting for Avatar to come onto a good streaming service for forever. But yeah, so Netflix. I mean, you've got Stranger Things, you've got the Marvel series with Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist and the Defenders and of course the Punisher, which is the best one. You've got Ozark, you've got The Get Down. There's just so many good shows on there. Though I will say Netflix, they're pretty iffy on what they choose to market. Because I remember, like they would cancel shows that didn't get a ton of people watching them, but like you never saw those shows marketed. Like think about like all the marketing, like money and time they spent into like the Stranger Things series, and then they didn't do the same thing for like The Get Down, which has a more varied cast and is just as popular, just not as many viewers. And then they canceled it. It's one of those things where like they'll have these really diverse shows, and then but they don't market them at all. You don't see them advertised anywhere, and then they cancel them. And it's just kind of like they got to step it up there. But still, I go to Netflix for pretty much everything. It's a good deal for a ton of content. So
it's great.
All right. So those are our favorites. AMC is great. Want to give that a shout out with.
I love AMC.
Bad Walking Dead, Mad Men. But yeah, those are our favorites. We're going to move on to our next topic. It's best and worst TV character of all time. And this should be fun. So I'm going to let Darby go first.
All right, Darbs.
All right. Well, if
we skipped something.
What's that?
We skipped number 4?
No, next.
Oh, yes, we did. I skipped number 4. So we're just going to do the best worst TV characters, and then I'm going to come back to number 4.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So that's the worst TV characters.
Okay. Well, anybody that knows me that's watching could probably guess where my best is going. But Jack Bauer died for his country and lived to tell about it. 24 was one of my favorite shows when it came out. And Jack Bauer, I mean, to be honest, and maybe this is embarrassing to admit, but I studied criminal justice and counterterrorism because I wanted to be the next Jack Bauer, pretty much, coming out. 24, I mean, it came out, shortly after 9/11. So, right around then, not to, sound nostalgic, but, we needed a character like that in TV, somebody that was going to do that. And so, the joke is that, Chuck Norris wears Jack Bauer pajamas when he goes to bed. I think Kiefer Sutherland's been in some great roles, but anytime I see him in something now, it's, hey, that's Jack Bauer. That's not even Kiefer Sutherland. Like, what's Jack Bauer doing on this? Like Designated Survivor, I was like, oh, hey, Jack Bauer's president. And so my honorable mention for best does have to go, though, to Al Bundy. He's and if you didn't know, he threw 4 touchdowns in a single game for Polk High, so you got to give him a shout out for that. My worst of all time, and this is another highly debatable one, but I cannot stand Skylar White from Breaking Bad. Wow. And I know that's a very heated topic because, in actuality, her husband's the villain. She's trying to do the moral thing at first and take care of the family, but then she turns into trying to kind of be the bad herself and run the show, and she cheats on them and all this other stuff to where, just by the end of it, even though she was in the right for trying to take care of her family and Walter White was in the wrong, you just can't stand her. And so without a doubt, that popped up first in my head that I just cannot stand Skylar White. Even if she was in the right, it's just, you didn't want to hear it at that point. You weren't going to hear it at that point. And I think that's why they didn't even bring her back for El Camino in any capacity, because everybody was over it.
Philip is in agreement with you, Darby. He says Skylar White sucks.
Anna Gunn did fantastic in the role. Like, I don't want to take anything away from that, but she did such a good job. I mean, she was getting hate mail, and she took a toll because of the hate she was getting from that.
Kind of like Lena Headey with Cersei.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. I just wanted to say I couldn't believe that, I mean, I know that the son, the older son that was in Breaking Bad, I know he was shielded for the whole show. He had no idea that his dad was a drug dealer. But the way he reacted to me was awful. It's just like, that's your dad. You're just going to throw him. He's like, get out of here. I hate you. I never, I don't know. I was disappointed with his character, but it's all
right. Daniel, what are you going to say?
Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. So I'm going back to best TV character ever. I don't know. I mean, It's a hard. This was so hard for me because I actually have 3, but I can. I'll narrow it down. Like I love more than anything in this world. I love a character named Rose Nyland, who is also better known as Betty White from the Golden Girls. Like she is like my favorite character. She is comedic relief. She's dramatic. She has such range. She's such a beautiful spirit and a wonderful soul. Rose is the bomb diggity. And then I'd also have to say Charles Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie. He was like he also would qualify as like the best TV dad, I would say, because like he's just like the ultimate guy. I mean, like he provided for his family. He was like this solid dude. If you mess with him, you better just watch out. Anyways, that was Michael Landon.
You just got my mom to come back and watch again. She loves Little House on the Prairie.
Love it.
Right. Who's your worst?
The worst.
Yeah.
Daniel, who's your worst?
Worst.
Oh, my worst. Oh, crap.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, my worst, and I don't mean to be hating on anything, but like, y'all know Gareth from The Office UK? Like that guy, I mean, that character is just poorly acted, poorly written. I just hate that character. It's just really bad. If you ever watch Office UK, you're going to know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's just not good. Like, and I almost think it was like a miscast. Maybe they said, we've got this guy's going to be great. And then they like showed up to everybody and then they didn't show up and they said, well, just put this guy in. It's like that. Cause it was really bad. Anyway.
We have a comment from Corey. She says Fiona from Shameless sucks. Kind of agree. I'm not
Debbie.
I'm not a.
My sister is the spitting image epitome of Debbie.
Your sister. There's literally a comment from your sister that says, "Insert Matt saying quiet, Debbie."
Pipe down, Debbie.
No, I don't like Fiona, but yeah, I have friends that love her. She's just not for me. I don't think she's a good character. But Matt, you get to go next. I'm taking over the stream now. I'm taking over.
I'm gonna go next here. My best was very simple. It is Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. James Marsters comes in. He comes in on season 2, and he's supposed to be there for a few episodes and die. The fans wouldn't let that happen. They loved him so much. They're like, we want some more of this character. So he gets to stay, and then he gets to stay for the entire season's run. And then they love him so much that even though, spoiler alert, he dies at the end, they bring him back for Angel just because he is that dude. Spike is easily the best. He looks like Billy Idol. That's how they dressed him. He kills vampires. He doesn't take no crap. And then when they finally do neuter him by putting a chip in his head and giving him a soul, he's comedic relief. He's that guy that can just flip a switch and be the bad guy anytime. Spike is easily the best character.
I almost asked you earlier, were you Team Spike or Team Angel when you mentioned Buffy?
Always Team Spike. Spike went and fought for his soul to get Buffy, while Angel just had to have it put into him. So definitely Team Spike all the way. Spike is the best TV character. And I would probably, Jim Halpert might be second. But Spike was definitely the best. The worst, I have 2 because I couldn't pick between them. When I watch The Office and this guy comes on, all I say is Gabe. Gabe from The Office is terrible. He's the worst. He's the worst thing about the show. And I just, Gabe. And then the other one is Andrea from The Walking Dead. And when she finally got eaten, I'm glad she got eaten off screen because she did not deserve to be eaten on screen because she was the worst thing ever. I hated Andrea. Everything about her character, she was absolutely the worst. So Gabe and Andrea are the worst characters on TV. Bethany, any comments to that?
Well, let's see. We've got a little debate of Wesley says Michelle's pick for worst is Quinn Fabray from Glee. Then your brother comes in with, I only watched 3 seasons of Glee, but I remember liking Quinn. Quinn can be a little hard to. I'm rewatching Glee right now. I'm in the process of rewatching it, and she's not a character for everyone, but I think she's an interesting character. I don't think she's a necessarily bad character. There's a lot of agreement that Nellie from The Office is just the worst. And your brother says
Nellie was 2.
He will not listen to any other arguments. Let's see. Ted was definitely tough to watch for majority of the show. I'm guessing that's How I Met Your Mother. Emily Miller says Team Spike all the way. Tim R says Andrea in the comics was awesome. They screwed her over in the show. And then Wesley says the thing about Gabe to me is that I did hate him, but I felt like I was supposed to, so it worked. I enjoyed Gabe. He's a little weirdo. I liked Gabe.
All right, Bethany.
But
what do you got?
Best TV character for me, I went to the cartoons. I went with Uncle Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think Uncle Iroh is phenomenal. He was a Fire Nation general, so like he's a bad guy, but everything we see about him in the show, he's great, and like his whole goal is to help prevent like redeem and save his nephew. And he's not like, even though he's Fire Nation, he helps the other characters even before they all team up together against Fire Lord Ozai. And he has a lot of great lessons. The man loves his tea. He's one of the most powerful benders in the universe. So I love Uncle Iroh. Worst character, there's some agreement with me. Worst character, I also went to cartoons, but I didn't take it as just like a bad character. I took it as like a character that I just like was evil and awful. It was in the comments earlier. That was my second one. Ramsay Snow / Bolton from Game of Thrones deserved to get eaten by dogs.
He's a great villain.
He's a great villain. Just you hate him. But the character I picked is from Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and it is Pong Krell. He is a Jedi in the Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and he takes over in an arc from Anakin Skywalker to over the 501st, and he is massively anti-clone. He doesn't think clones are actual lives. And he's actually like a dark Jedi. He's like turned away from the Order. He's like, I'm going to join Count Dooku and all this kind of stuff. And he's pitting the clones against each other without them realizing it. And he's getting them murdered. And then, he's awful. He's just, I'm glad he's dead. He died. They killed him and he deserved it.
Some of the comments in here, I'm going to pop them up.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yep, go for it.
I want to change mine if I can, because I just thought of like the most amazing character ever, and I want to see if y'all have heard of it. Have you ever seen the Trailer Park Boys? The best character on this show is Bubbles.
Bubbles, here comes Bubbles.
Bubbles. Yeah. Oh my God, he's amazing. Like that character wasn't the same way. He wasn't meant to be in there, but he got in there, and anyways, he's phenomenal. But anyways,
I'm really surprised. I see a lot of Ramsey mentions in the comments too, but how no one called out Joffrey.
Joffrey.
I almost chose him.
I don't even watch Game of Thrones. I just know what I know from the characters. I know Ramsay Bolton is horrible. Or Ramsay Snow, whatever you want to call him. Let's see. Philip says Daniel isn't being the person that Uncle Iroh wants him to be. Uncle Iroh just wants the best for you. There's agreement with me about Pong Krell, but I knew she would agree with me on that. So, someone says Joffrey can't hold a candle to Ramsay.
They're both terrible. Like Ramsay was definitely on up there, but I just was surprised at that point we had no mention of Joffrey whatsoever. Because I think the first episode, can't stand him.
I almost chose him as my number one best character. Serious, because he's like so good at being bad.
Yeah, well, is that more of the actor or the character?
He's a character, yeah. He's King Joffrey, this little punk kid.
I know who Joffrey is for sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
He had a good death.
Oh yeah.
Wesley Burcham says, I think villains are always tough to choose best or worst for. When you hate them, it generally means they're just doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
So.
All right, we're going to move on to our next category, which should be a lot of fun. It's most shocking TV moment. And I'll go first here. I'll go first on this one. I had two that floated around in my head, and I finally decided on which one I'm going to go with. The most shocking TV moment for me has to be Janet Jackson at the Super Bowl, because a young me who was probably running around playing football during halftime, did not see it live, but I know a lot of people did. It was on network TV in front of thousands of people that were in attendance, millions watching at home. And she just has my boy, my man crush, Justin Timberlake, just get in trouble. Because
first of all, he didn't even get in trouble for that. Her entire career was derailed because of that. And it wasn't even her fault.
My boy can't play a Super Bowl because of her. That's selfish.
I think it was scripted. I think they planned the whole thing out just because,
probably.
Daniel's on the conspiracy theory train.
Who walks past someone and just so happens to grab their bra that just so happens to be Velcroed on and just so happens just to come off so easily? I mean, I don't know. It's scripted. I don't know.
But scripted or not, it was definitely shocking.
Yes.
Something that caused a lot of controversy and led to us having a lot of past the hill, over the hill bands play the Super Bowl from that point on, which I wasn't upset with because I like a lot of the bands that actually played. U2, Prince, all of them were great, and now we're back into the just ignoring the halftime show again. But that was definitely the most shocking TV moment for me. Let's move to Darby.
All right. Well, I was wondering if I'd get to go with my top one or if someone else would mention it before me. So I will go ahead and take the thunder. But going back to Game of Thrones, I think you know where I'm going with this. But Reigns of Castamere, The Red Wedding. I mean,
so good.
The thing is, I was late to the game with Game of Thrones, watching it and catching up. And I actually heard about that part of it first from South Park, with them doing the piece about the Thanksgiving shopping and Black Friday and all that. And they did a spoof off of it. But, I mean, you watch that. I mean, the second you hear the Reigns of Castamere song, they close the door. Spoiler alert, everybody does. And that's pretty much a spoiler alert for the entire series. But, I think the part that got me the most was when they killed Grey Wind, the dire wolf.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, kill all the people you want to. But when that happened, I was like, what are we doing here?
You can't touch the dogs or the wolves. You can't touch the animals.
Yeah, and just the way it ended with that, I'll just leave it at that final cut. And that last person and just the silence as that blood and everything's coming out. You may have read the books and had an idea of things that were happening, but as someone who didn't, and you see that, it's just, wow, what did I just watch? So yeah, that's got to be the top one for me.
See, I was slow on the Game of Thrones train with you, and I overheard my brother talking about that scene. So of course it didn't shock me as a Kane because I kind of knew it was coming. But most shocking moment for me in Game of Thrones was definitely when Jaime got his hand cut off because I did not see that coming at all. That just kind of came out of nowhere. But Daniel, most shocking TV moment.
Well, for me, it was such a build-up. Like it's going to be when Negan kills Glenn and Abraham, like at the opening. I don't know what season was that? Season 4. But like the build-up was so intense. And then I know so many people that said, if they kill Glenn, I swear to you, I'll never watch that show again. And I know tons of people that do not watch that show just because that happened. I mean, it literally. Yeah. Such a shocking thing. And then the way it was done, it was so gruesome and horrific. I mean, I'm like, AMC, come on, I give you props, but Lord. Woo.
Yeah.
Well, and the misdirection too, because the theory was Glenn was, everybody was plotting, who's it going to be if you follow the comics, and everybody's like, oh, it's going to be Glenn, and then the misdirection at first with going around to Abraham.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do that too. With you on that.
Yeah, Walking Dead is a show that I didn't watch. I watched the first season for John Bernthal, and I didn't watch beyond that. I didn't really get into the show. Which he has a really good arc in season 2. And a lot of people tell me I would like it, but I didn't get into it. But I that's one of those shows, same thing for Game of Thrones with me. I didn't watch it, but social media told me everything I needed to know, and I remember everyone just losing their minds when that happened.
See, anybody in The Walking Dead is fair game to me other than Daryl. Anybody else can go. What was your worst? We were on most shocking TV moments.
Yeah, it's my turn now.
Yes. Are you any comments?
Yes. Comments. We have some people. Is the ending of the bent neck lady episode of Haunting of Hill House.
That was good.
Left me shaking, calling people for comfort. A couple agreements on that. We have one that says Dexter coming home to find Rita. Literally paused my show and had to walk around. Arya and the Night King was shocking for the worst reasons. And some agreement on that. Brian says Shireen. Is that her name? Shireen from Game of Thrones?
Being burned at the stake.
Yeah, after the books, no one saw it coming. Red Wedding wasn't as shocking as Cersei and Jaime blowing their character arcs and dying via some falling rock.
I'm tempted to agree with that.
Yeah.
Mountain versus Viper ending is a slept on in Game of Thrones. Yeah, there's some agreement on that too. It's easily the sickest I felt watching that show. Wesley asked, can WWE pay-per-views count? Every Royal Rumble surprise interest leaves me excited, considering Matt brought it in.
My other pick for that was going to be when Owen Hart died. Was my most shocking pick when he fell from the rafters there and died on impact in the ring. So, yes, WWE pay-per-views can absolutely count. And Edge returning this year.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Edge returning this year after 9 years. Returning at this year's Royal Rumble is legitimately shocking. I mean, like, if we're talking like just any TV moment, this is I just thought of it because Matt kind of opened the door, but Bud Dwyer, he
watched that. I recently watched that.
Himself live on TV. He was being there was a he was on trial for something. I don't remember what it was, but he shot himself on live TV. It's about as shocking. Anytime someone does that, or anytime something like that happens on TV, it's a very shocking and upsetting thing. And you kind of realize how much blood is in the human head. But TV moments, I went with a scene from Orange is the New Black, which was Pusey's death.
Yeah.
That was heartbreaking in so many ways. And we didn't really see it coming. And I know it got a lot of criticism too for the fact that similar to our climate right now, that was kind of going on at the time when the show happened. And hey, Matt, you're finally kind of catching up.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, it was just really shocking and heartbreaking how she died, and the fact that they killed her off because she was one of the most popular characters on the show. And I remember a lot of people being upset that they did it. And I actually did not watch the show after that. I stopped watching because I didn't like the way it was handled. I didn't like what they did with it. I'm all about doing some controversy, but I don't think people handle it well sometimes in the way that they use it. And so other comment, the reveal in Clone Wars that Darth Maul was alive was big at the time because, we all saw his puppet body fall down the shaft in 2 pieces. And then he's alive and he's got spider legs. Most shocking, literally every episode of Tiger King. When Carol Baskin says she keeps her animals in cages. Derek Reese's death in Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles from Brian. Jamie says Henry Burton from Grey's Anatomy. And then the Baby Yoda reveal in Mandalorian. The fact that they kept that from leaking. And so that's what you missed on Glee.
All right. So we're going to move into our final topic here. It is, what is our top 5 TV shows of all time in order? We're going to go from 5 to 1. We're going to start with Bethany here. Bethany, from 5 to 1, what is your best TV shows of all time?
All right. 5th place is a tie for me between Peaky Blinders and Sons of Anarchy. Both of those shows are phenomenal. Sons of Anarchy is the first show that I actually watched start to finish. And I remember the finale and sitting there like this and just like silently crying as the finale happened, and my mom and sister sitting at the table making fun of me.
Bethany, my second choice for biggest shock was Opie's death.
Oh my gosh.
That was the other one if I didn't get to do the red wedding.
Oh my gosh. Opie's death in Sons of Anarchy is devastating. It makes me so sad. But then like Peaky Blinders, I also love that. It gets a little old with their cliffhanger season endings, series endings because it's British. But I love everything about that show. The characters are great. The acting is phenomenal. I'll always watch that. Fourth place for me, Mr. Robot. Which if you have not watched Mr. Robot with Christian Slater and Rami Malek, what are you doing? Literally stop what you're doing right now and go watch all 4 seasons. Those are phenomenal seasons, or altogether that entire show is just great. Number 3 is Netflix's Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The second season's a little they tried to do a lot and it didn't exactly work out, but the first season it kick-started the whole Marvel on Netflix movement, and the third season it really comes back in strong. It's Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, Eldon Henson from Mighty Ducks fame as Foggy Nelson, Deborah Ann Wall as Karen Page, even though they kind of like Deborah does a great job, Karen is not a great character. That's great. Elodie Young as Elektra Natchios, and of course John Bernthal as the Punisher in Daredevil season 2. The highlight of season 2 is him. So
you already said 2 wasn't that good, so you've already sold out.
Nope, he's what redeems it. Season 2 is what makes him in season 2 is what makes it watchable. Number 2, Stranger Things from Netflix. I got on the Stranger Things train late. I was not I tried to watch it when it first came out, and like because there's all the hype around it, I didn't get into it. I didn't like it, and I gave it a shot last summer after season 3 came out. So I knew some of the spoilers already from the show because it had been around for several years, but I watched it and I really got into it and I really enjoy it. So I'm very excited about season 4 and can't wait for that to come out. But my number 1 best TV show is Netflix's The Punisher. 1, because it is higher rated than any of the other Punisher movies they attempted. Number 2, John Bernthal literally broke his hand and filmed an entire fight scene 3 times with a broken hand.
Then it wouldn't have broke.
Okay, I'm coming to Southern, okay? Like John Bernthal has such like charisma and gravitas. I'm not a huge fan. Well, I like season 2. I like it. The Billy Russo arc in season 2 is my favorite. One of my favorite things ever. I think Ben Barnes did a phenomenal job in that role. But I mean, John Bernthal really anchors that show and brings it all together. And he does the dark, brooding, like my whole family is dead. This is my life. Very well, and then he can immediately turn on the charm, and you'll like him so much, even though he's a literal murderer and everything. And I still think season 1 of The Punisher, if they had even just left it at season 1, even though I enjoy season 2, it's one of the best TV series of all time, just season 1. And the way that they handle the backstory for Punisher and update him to the modern times and everything like that, great. I love it. Stephen Lightfoot did a really good job. They took some characters that were in like 1 or 2 issues in like the 80s and brought them in and fully fleshed them out and made them really well-developed, interesting characters. So, which I loved it. So that's my top 5. John Bernthal is still better than everybody else.
Daniel, what is your top 5?
Okay, well, I'm gonna go with shows that I love watching: longevity, just depth, amazingness. I'm gonna go top 5. Number 5 for me is gonna be Doctor Who. that extends back into the 70s all the way to right now. You can go to that show, and doesn't matter which Doctor you watch, you're going to love it. It's amazing. It's fun. It escapes you from the world. It's brilliant. Doctor Who. Number 4, I'm going with Breaking Bad, which is like way up there. I love this show, but it's just so good. You know, you got like 5 or 6 or however 8, whatever seasons of it. You can keep coming back to it. You can drop it at any moment, watch a good show. You know, you're going to be entertained. Fantastic. Number 3 for me is going to be Sopranos. You can't deny how amazing this show is. Same way, you can drop in any season and just catch right up and just be so entertained and just enjoy the drama and all that stuff happening. Number 2, Star Trek. Any Star Trek series, I don't care what it is, Star Trek, whatever, you know, from the 60s all the way up to now. I mean, it's phenomenal. Doesn't matter what you're watching. Picard, Next Generation, the original Captain Kirk, you know, whatever. It's so good. Star Trek is my number 2. Number 1 for me, just because it's so amazing. And recently, it's just like it's the complete package. I know it's not as in-depth as all of my other ones, but Game of Thrones has to be the number 1 TV series of all time. So that's just my opinion because it's so good. It just has so much depth. So much subject matter. It wraps it all up with a nice bow, and you're sitting there going, what am I watching? This is amazing. I'm thrilled. I'm happy. I'm sad. I'm angry. I love it. I'm a ball of emotions, and I just want to keep watching the show. So, yeah, that's it.
Is it a nice bow, though?
No, I don't know if it wrapped it with a nice bow, but I do love Game of Thrones.
It is.
Darby, your top 5.
This has been tough to kind of go back and forth with. I will say I'll give the honorable mention to Friends, but it didn't make the top 5. I know I raved about it earlier, but I just couldn't put it in there. Number 5 would be MASH, actually. I still like, you know, when that comes on TV and watching it, and I think that, you know, it's very easy to forget about that one these days since it is so old, but I loved it watching it growing up. 4, I'm going to give to Sons of Anarchy. Like I said, my Opie moment would have been earlier. I just think Kurt Sutter did a great job with that show. I'll be honest, I have not started watching Mayans yet, kind of the spinoff they've done. And I know they've talked about other spinoffs, but I just think Sons of Anarchy was fantastic. 3, it's going to have to go to 24. Like I mentioned earlier, that was the first show I really just watched from start of the season when it was on TV until, you know, the end of the series, even when they did kind of the one-off little TV movies of it. But I loved it. 2, because the last season was so not worth mentioning, it is Game of Thrones is at number 2. Daniel, I agree with everything you said, but I think it slid down for me just because of that. Just felt very rushed, and we left a lot out there that I'm just wondering about. But number 1, got to be Breaking Bad. And I know everyone says it's if you don't like it, you say it's because it's slow, and I'm right there with you. It took me 3 attempts to actually finish season 1 and get into it. But then after that, I mean, I was hooked. And I think it's just, you know, it's one of the highest rated of all times. I think it's even in Guinness Book of World Records as having the rating for the highest watched or highest voted. So it's got to be Breaking Bad at my number 1 spot.
All right. So my top 5, my top 4 were solid. The 5th one always changes. So number 5, I'm going to go with Chuck. Chuck is number 5. I had no expectations when I went in to watch it. Watched it, and I fell in love with every character. Fell in love with every episode. The whole premise just intrigued me to pieces. Yvonne Strahovski was great in it. Introduced me to Zachary Levi, who I now adore and everything that he's in. So Chuck is just amazing, and I love it so much. It's my number 5. Number 4 is Breaking Bad. It took me a while to watch Breaking Bad. My brother begged me to watch it, and I'm like, it's about a chemist who deals drugs. Why would I want to watch that? It turns out to be so great. Ozymandias is the greatest TV episode of all time of any show. So Breaking Bad, as everybody's talked about, number 4. Number 3 is Game of Thrones. Say what you will about the ending. The ending was terrible. It was bad. The last 2 seasons shouldn't have happened, but season 6 is the greatest season of any TV show. between Battle of the Bastards, Winds of Winter. Hard Home is my favorite episode when he battles that White Walker and shatters him. I got goosebumps. Game of Thrones, for everything that was before those last 2 seasons, was just top notch. I would get HBO just to watch Game of Thrones. Number 2 is The Office. It's the best comedy. It's the one I watch the most. It's the most binge-worthy thing. It's got the most quotable lines. I love everything about The Office. Michael Scott was great. Jim Halpert and Pam Beesly is the best couple of any TV show. Like I said, I proposed to my wife in Niagara Falls, so The Office is number 2. And number 1, I talked about earlier, it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The writing is great. They have a musical episode. They have a silent episode, and those are 2 of their best episodes. When they were in high school for the first 3 seasons, it was great with Buffy and Angel. And then, like I said, the 4th season is the only speed bump they have because they're trying something new. But then seasons 5 through 7 are great with the Buffy and Spike. They bring in some new characters. They try some new things. It never gets stale. It never gets old. They constantly change everything. And some of you might think, oh, well, it's just her slaying vampires. It goes so much deeper than that. Buffy the Vampire Slayer has always been my number 1, and it probably always will be. So those are my top 5 TV shows of all time. That's all of our top 5 TV shows of all time. Bethany, real quick, any number 1s on there that we didn't cover?
Let's see. Well, we've got some mentions of Sharp Objects based off of the Gillian Flynn book. It was on HBO about 2 years ago, starring Amy Adams. That is also phenomenal. Read the book and watch the show. They're so good. The Clone Wars. Let's see. We have The Expanse, Battlestar Galactica, Firefly, Stargate SG-1.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
a lot of mention for Law and Order SVU and How to Get Away with Murder Tonight. Season 1 of The Punisher was phenomenal. Home is one of my favorite episodes of TV, which was not my comment. The Society and End of the Blanking World on Netflix.
To write that one down.
House is mentioned. Schitt's Creek and Grey's Anatomy and Live PD before it was canceled. And then someone said, Daniel, I no longer like you, about something that you said.
I'm sorry.
He gets at least one. He gets at least one of those every show.
Yeah, he does.
So that was our TV episode, y'all. We thank you for watching this here at Movie Rounders Live on YouTube and Facebook. Don't forget to follow us Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. It's all at Movie Rounders. We actually have a website too. We'll start doing movie reviews when theaters decide to start giving us some movies back. We want to thank Darby for joining us again tonight.
Thanks
with
for
his hot takes tonight. And we thank you all for watching. Let us know what you want us to do. Yes, we hear you about the Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm still trying to work that in. What I'm planning on doing, I'll let you guys know this now. What I'm planning on doing is next Thursday, I'm going to just come up with maybe one topic. And I'm just going to let the fans comment with what they want to see us talk about. And we're just going to go a complete fan show. We'll answer any topics that y'all have. So keep that in mind. Think about what you want us to answer. And we are Movie Rounders. Thank you for joining us. See you guys later.
Bye.